And although people don't know about you in this very moment, the world would know soon. That's how you have to look at it. That's how I look at it on certain things. Like, it's cool, okay, but just keep going. Eventually, it's gonna happen.
That's all.
You just have to keep going, and it has to be within to know, like, in a humble way.
Back, what's going on, my boy?
Brother.
End of the month.
I know.
How you doing? How would you rank your March now that we're already done by the time this gets posted? But like looking back, how did March treat you?
Blessing. I mean, we're about to be in the 4th month of the year already. It's crazy. It's crazy how time is flying. It's crazy.
I have no words. Simply no words.
That's why like doing what you want to do in a sense of like going for it is essential. Like time is of the essence. Like yes, planning and things like that matter for sure, but you got to go for it. You have to, because we're seeing time is flying.
Man, there's so much that we can do when we're filling up, right? Like when we're feeling good, there's so much that we can do. But I think in those moments too, when we're just kind of trying to get by each and every day, like you still got to find that
for sure.
the thing, bro, like the passion or the foundational element of just having your purpose to keep going, keep growing. So, it's good to have my boy back in the seat. It's good to be sitting here with y'all. Honestly, like I hope you guys have had a blessed Q1. I will say, since we are in month 4 of what's going on in corporate terms perspective. But today's another great conversation. Like I said, we're still working with, the athlete lifestyle, the athlete or the athlete mindset. And Julian, today I want to talk about the impact of the coaches side now. So, as players, we all have different situations when it comes to the coaches that we come across. And I think we could all have those conversations where we've approached and been around coaches that just haven't been as great or as good as other coaches in each other's lives. So today I really want to focus on that element and just being able to dial in, what impact that these coaches have, and just lead it off by asking you the question, would you rather, or maybe not rather, but in your opinion, do you think, or what's more impactful? I'll ask you that question. What's more impactful? A coach that wins on the court and on the field, but has very little part in their athletes' lives, or the coach that doesn't win as much, but is fully involved and engaged in his athletes' lives outside of being, just an athlete?
Yeah, that's an easy one for me. It's the coach that's impactful intrinsically, that's there, that really gives you knowledge, that teaches you about manhood and things subsiding the sport. I think if we were to reflect on any of our top coaches, we're not going to really look more towards the games we played. We're going to look at the character of the coach.
For sure.
So I think that's the assessment. Like me thinking about coaches in the moment right now, I'm thinking about things that they said, who they were outside of the game, real conversations that were had. And yes, sometimes that's linked to the game, but oftentimes that's linked to just life and being a young man at that time, getting wisdom from a grown man.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm for sure taking a coach because yes, it's about winning, but it's about life. Like you're teaching young men about life if you're coaching any sport. So you want to win within that, but it's about the foundations and the principles that are being bestowed upon, that team from a man in that moment. So for sure, I'm taking a coach that's maybe not necessarily winning on the court, but for sure winning off the court.
I think that's a beautiful answer, and I agree 100% with you. Yeah. And I bring this conversation up because we just, we're at the back end of March Madness, so hopefully we already know who won. And I think the best part about it, dude, is seeing these mid-major D1s, right? And I don't remember what the school was, but I do remember there was a basketball player who was on the mic after his, for his post-game interview. And I sent it to my dad, but he was talking about his coach in such an articulate way. And if as athletes, we tend to get the stereotype of like, oh, they're not as intelligent, they're only focused about the sport. But the way this guy was talking about his coach, man, like to paraphrase, he was saying, man, I wouldn't be nothing without so-and-so. Like the way he pays attention to us off the court is what matters most to us. Because we're individuals, we're people, we're human beings, right? And the love and care that he has for us, not as basketball players, but as men, is what truly changed my life and, made me trust in giving him everything that I got. And I mean, like, you really got to have a passion for the game and like understanding of what impact feels like as a man to know that puts like goosebumps on me, bro. Like seeing something as powerful as that. And for a 19 to 21-year-old college student or even 18-year-old college student that can have that feeling and have a male, and we talked about last week, the men's loneliness epidemic, to have a good man in your life and be your coach, but also be a father figure, an uncle, a best friend, man, that's just truly beautiful. And that's why I would hope every athlete can experience that at some point. And the reality of it is, bro, is there's few and far between when it comes to these quality coaches and the ones that actually take the time to learn their players outside, whether it's the court or the field.
Yeah. I mean, I remember in high school, and I still think about the conversation to this day. I mean, I think I might have spoken on it on one of like our first episodes a long, long time ago. But man, we were getting ready to we were seniors. Essentially, we were getting ready to like leave school. School day.
Yeah, I remember that story.
I remember getting like hear my name get called in the middle of the hallway, and I tell my boys like, y'all go ahead. Long story short, one of my assistant coaches at the time, who he was in his early 20s at the time, so he wasn't that much older than us, had a real conversation with me about women, life, all type of things. And it's conversations that I think about. It's that conversation I think about that to this day. So I don't think about the games and things like that. But the older you get in life, how often are you reminiscing on the games you played in high school?
I mean, how many of them do you actually remember? Exactly.
Unless it's a big game, it's a memorable game. Somebody hits a game winner, a home run to win the game or something like that. Unless it's something like that, you're not really remembering the games. You're remembering the personable moments you're having with the coach or your teammates, or taking a bus ride here, going to this tournament. You remember those things. So those things are lifelong impactful.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I remember that story, bro, that you shared. And I think it's, I would almost feel like your coach would probably think that was minute of a feeling for him compared to what it was for you. Like he knew that was just his responsibility to do that as a good man.
For sure.
But he probably had no understanding or knowing of what that actually meant to you. You know what I mean? And I think it kind of aligns with coaches that do that. Don't do it for the accolades. They don't do it for the rings. They don't do it for the money. They do it because genuinely they want to. Absolutely. And they see you as somebody that they can mold and make you a better man and give you a better future in a situation than what you came in with. And that's what I love sports. That's why I love sports, bro, is because when you come in, the point of it is to come in and come out of it a better man. Every sport that you play or any sport that you can think of is life.
Absolutely.
It's going to teach you life lessons if you allow it to, right? And if you have somebody that's guiding you through those moments, in this case, a good coach that can say, hey, look, that was the wrong way, but this is a right way. And I'm not giving up on you, but here's what you need to do. Because we can't hand it to you.
Absolutely.
We can't walk you through it. It's got to come from you, and it's got to come from the belief in me to you. So, bro, I think, and I don't want to fall too far into this conversation because I don't want to sit here and say that there are a lot of bad coaches out there, but I do think what needs to be addressed are coaches that aren't doing their part, right? And do you feel like once you get to a certain stake in, we'll say high school, college sports, where you almost have to take out the ability to touch outside of the sport because you're just so focused and have such a big responsibility on winning? Or do you feel like you could still find a balance between it?
That's a great question. I do think it gets a little tougher because the stakes are higher. And the higher you go up, coaches start to get, now we're talking about coaches getting fired when programs aren't winning. In high school, unless you're going to like a top high school, you know what I mean? Yes, it's about winning, but coaches aren't really getting released like that. It's more so like, we just need a good coach.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So that's a really good question because I do think once you get into like, of course, high D1, especially professional ranks, the great coaches and the coaches that become Hall of Famers or were an athlete in that perspective sport at one time, I think they know how to like they know how to maneuver within that. The great ones, they know how to like get their players and their teammates to buy into the system on the court, but they know how to like individually assess and pull from different players and speak to certain players a certain way and get to their mental in a personable way to where it's like, nah, this coach cares. It's a real skill.
Yeah.
It's a real skill.
Sure.
But I do think it gets tougher because, I mean, again, we're talking about life at that point. You know, coaches have families.
Yeah.
They have households. They have bills. So it's about winning. And it's like, well, we need players that are going to win because you all's winning benefits my life in the sense of my family, my wife, my kids, whoever else I'm taking care of. So it definitely becomes a very, I don't want to say tricky situation, but the stakes are higher. Stakes are higher. So it just gets a little different. I'll say that it gets different.
I can understand that to an extent. I think when stakes do get high, you start to, I wouldn't say you add more pressure to yourself, but you start to think of the things that you feel like matter most.
Right,
and I think every coach may have a difference in opinions and like what they prioritize as a coach on what they need to focus on in order to win. And every team's different. I think every team that comes through has athletes that are of different personalities, different skill sets. So they can be lenient in certain areas, but I don't know, bro. I feel there are other ways to take care of your kids and your family than to be a coach. I think coaching is one of those things where you're choosing to be in a role where you are making an impact on impressionable kids because they're kids. We'll stick to college. NBA,
For sure.
That's a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? Those are grown men. But I think for sure in college, nobody's asking you to be a coach. You are choosing to be a coach because you feel like you have the right competitiveness, the right, experience, the skill set to do what a coach should have to do in order to win. Because winning, you're right. I think winning is obviously at the top of any coach's success or, long tenure in what they're doing. But I still think like nobody's asking you to do it. So at least if you're going to do it with some sense of responsibility and respect for the players that are playing the game. You know what I mean? And I think there's a fine line between wanting to win and focusing your attention on winning. And I think there's two different areas in that, and they show up very differently. And I mean, I could just think of coaches right off the bat on who would fall into those two categories, but I think the real review comes back to the players. And I was talking to my dad earlier before we got into this because I was telling him more or less of what we were going to talk about today. And I told him a successful coach isn't what comes from his mouth or what he feels like he's good at. A successful coach and an impactful coach is the one that the players talk about. Because all those wins, like you said, Hall of Fame coaches, rings, nobody cares at the end of the day. But what somebody does care is when that player comes across that he thought may have not liked him. And that player says, man, I remember that time when he stopped me out on the high school block and told me, hey, this is what's going to happen if you do this or do that, but it's your choice. I feel like that goes longer than anything, forget the wins. And I just think there's a way to operate amongst that and have an element of that, but you don't need to do it in that exact manner.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this because you mentioned this a while ago in regards to like coaches are choosing coaches are choosing to be there. You said something that was primitive a few episodes ago. Sometimes people, in a sense of like that have played a sport, they don't know anything else to do. So then they go into the coaching aspect. Now, whether that makes them a good coach or I don't want to say a bad coach, but just not as a proficient coach, that's just up to just who they are. But I do think there are certain coaches that are coaching because think about how it starts. You stop playing and then you might become like an assistant coach, or you might become like the coach that just deals with like the athletes and their schoolwork, making sure they're on top of it. So it's not like you just go from
definitely,
you know what I mean, not playing to just coach. There's steps in regards to getting to becoming an assistant coach, a head coach. Like there's steps, and athletes understand that you don't just really just get into that position. But a lot of times it comes from players that have played a sport for so long. Oftentimes they play college, they try to play professional, whatever the case is, and then they're just like, man, I don't know what else to do. I'm going to go into coaching. So sometimes it's not even a matter of if they're a good coach or not. It's like, that's all they chose that route because they didn't know what else to do. But I do believe that the good coaches are more, it's a passion, but it's also, they're very specific on being intentional. I think it's the intentionality.
I agree with that.
So I think that's where it lies. And the ones that aren't necessarily the best coaches, they might not even realize what they're doing, or their intentionality might not lie in the same space. So I would say that.
That's a good point. My next question for you would be, do you think coaches play a role on athletes' identities outside of the sport?
And these are some good questions. I believe so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In the sense of, especially when you're younger, how somebody talks to you can affect you.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
That's really a big thing because, you know, and again, it depends on who this player is, because I'm just going to be very, candid about it. Some players have more tough skin than others. So some players are tougher than others. Some players are a little bit softer in regards to how you can speak to. And I think sometimes coaches know that, sometimes they don't. But whatever that choice is, it does affect a player in regards to who he is on the team,
For sure.
and then how he feels about his game and who he is outside of or outside of the sport. And I think, and I believe what good coaches do is they know how to curate that. They know how to build you and boost you, and they also know how to give tough criticism to where it's like, you know that they love and care about you.
Yeah.
But also, this is just a reality too. Every player's not getting that treatment. That's just the reality.
True.
Because a coach has to see something in you. And like I'll defer back to that story. It was like 3 or 4 of us that were leaving out. The coach called me. But also my teammates at the time would be like, man, such and such, he's taking you under his wing. He's always talking to you. And it's like, well, yes, athletes can see that, but also coaches take liking to certain players, whether they see a talent or an ability or a personality or just a blend. That's just a human nature.
That's what I was going to say. They're human. Yeah.
That's human nature. And you could also
There's favorites.
Absolutely. Just like you can see athletes to where it's like, man, he's on the team, but he's playing. He's not serious. He's joking around all the time. He doesn't really care about being here, but he's on the team. So it's like, I mean, you have to look at it, especially the age we're at now. I could for sure, let's say if I was a coach, see a player and be like, man, you're a young man. I like who you are though, man. I'm going to pour into you. And it's not to say you're not going to do that for other players, but you just see something special in him. And it's like, it's genuine, and he takes a liking to you, and it's just a mutual like, nah, man, I'm gonna pour into you. So it's just factors like that.
Well, sometimes it's like not to cut you off, but sometimes it's like they see themselves in that player, and it's like, I need to save you.
Absolutely.
And that's human nature, bro. And that's
So
why
many
I agree with you on the favorite in
Absolutely.
this part. But yeah, keep going.
No, but what you said is that's it right there too. Because think about right now, if we were coaching, you could probably see a player and be like, man, you remind me of me when I was 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like I said, when I was giving the story of that coach, subsiding that one example, he would see me in the hallway, like doing certain things, and he'd be like, hey, Julian, relax. He'd be, and like at that age, like I didn't necessarily understand, but now being older, I'm probably sure he was looking at me like, you remind me of how I was at that age. But we're not peers, so I can't talk to you like, man, I see you doing your thing. It's more so like, man, I see you doing your thing internally, but Julian, relax. Go to class. You've been talking to her for too long. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to give it like the game from a big brother coach perspective, but internally it's like, my little boy, he's doing his thing. My guy is doing his thing. He's a younger version of me. And it's like, but you can't, we're not peers though.
No, for
We're
sure.
not peers. He's still a coach and a big brother in a sense, but it's like, we can't come and converse like how you will with your boys at that age. So there's so many factors of that to where it's like, now I can reflect back and see that. But like you said, that's just what it is. Like coaches see things in players to where it's like, man, either I'm saving you because I saw certain things that I was doing that you're doing, or I see certain things that you were doing that I was doing too. But it's like, I see you, but relax.
That's what it is.
I mean, it's a plan. So it's a plan. So no, that's a great point, because I think that's really what it is when coaches take a liking to a certain player. A lot of times, in anything in life, if you see something that reminds you of who you were younger, you're gonna reminisce and be like,
definitely.
You remind me of me. Even if that person doesn't know, there's still an intrinsic pull to it, because it's like, man, you don't even know how much you remind me of me when I was that age. So that's a real key part in just coaching and just so many different things in life. So that was a great point.
No, I think that was, I mean, I want to unpack a lot of what you said because I think you touched on what it is. That's why I said like, that's exactly what it is. You touched on like 3 points on, I mean, that's usually what a coach operates off of when it comes to interacting with these players. And I don't think there's anything wrong with favoritism. I think it's wrong when it's brought to light
For sure.
and it's made known.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a level of respect when it comes to coach to athlete that needs to be had. Just like you mentioned, you can't just be friends with these guys, bro. And I think too often, especially nowadays, you know, we got social media and we got coaches that are, you know, streaming games, which I'll save that conversation for another day and whatnot.
That's the thing.
Bro, yeah, there's like teams out here where the coaches are running a whole marketing program and recording their games and doing mic'd up conversations while they're coaching teams. Like it's crazy in the baseball world for sure. The baseball world's kind of like lost right now with certain things that come to that nature. Cause yeah, bro, it's getting younger and younger that these kids are more widely open to playing the game with the mic on their shirt.
You showed me some videos. It's like little kids,
man,
football team, like really
with
like
mics,
talking
crazy, and it's
different. Man.
So yeah, man, like I don't want to get too much into that, but I think back to like the distance between the respect of the coach to player. I think the easiest thing you can do wrong for yourself is as a coach is to cut that gap, to make it shorter. Because if your coach would have been like, Julian, I see you working, like she looks nice, like in terms of,
for sure.
I like how you're moving.
Yeah.
I think you would have seen him as like, oh, that's a friend.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that from a player standpoint because we're young, bro. We look up to some of these guys. Absolutely. Honestly, we're like, oh, that dude's cool. I like his shoes. He has money. He can do that. He can do this. And we kind of idolize it in a way. So once you cut it closer and every time you keep cutting it closer, you get yourself closer to we'll say situation to where you're in a game, something goes wrong, you're pissed off as a coach and you yell at your athlete and you see the athlete bark back at you. I'm going to say probably a little less than half the time that you see athletes barking back at their coach is because one, they don't respect them, or two, they thought that they were closer to them than they actually were.
Very true.
And some of that should go back on the coach. Now, I won't say every situation, but I do think that nowadays we're trying to be more of a player's coach. And I would still believe a little bit more on the old-fashioned side to where there needs to be at least one coach that knows how to keep it player-coach relationship. You are the dad, the father of these guys who are coming to you, and you need to hold that responsibility. Let your assistants do that. You know, let your assistants be the guys to be like, hey, yo, like what's going on? Like, how's it going with your girlfriend? You know, let them do that. Not to say as a head coach you can't, but there's a different communication in how that happens rather than it being more of like or like grad assistant coaches. You know, we can get into all that specifics,
there you go.
But there's roles for everyone as a coach. And I think, again, if you get that respect distance shorter, you are putting yourself in a situation to where the other guys might not respect you because then they clearly see like, oh, you talk to him like that, but you don't talk about me and my girl, or like you laugh with him over there. And guys notice it, bro. We're smarter than that. So I agree, man. I think those 3 aspects, as we talked about, are areas that we can continue to look at from a player standpoint and really analyze. And, you know, how do you feel? Like I would almost feel kind of empowered as an athlete if we had to give evaluations on coaches, if we were players. Like if there was like an evaluation process at the middle of the year or like the middle of the season or end of season going into your next season of how well your coach did in your eyes and got to really evaluate them. Like, do you think that would be kind of interesting to see?
I do think it would be interesting. I will say that I think it matters in regards to something like that, you know, what level and stage that the player is evaluating the coach, because at certain levels, you just don't understand what the coach is doing.
That's very true.
You don't have the cognitive understanding to know like, no, this is a good man that's coaching you. And you think that he's just hard on the team or he's just hard on you. And you might not like him for certain things. And you get older and those seeds that he planted start to really, really start to matriculate. And you now can grasp it. And then you look back like, man, that coach was a good man. He was a good man. But had you give him an evaluation for the sake of the conversation, when you were a 14-year-old freshman in high school and now you're a 19-year-old sophomore in college, it's going to be way different. It's going to be way different. So I definitely think, or if you're playing Pop Warner, or if you're playing Pee Wee, you can't give an evaluation on him.
That's a good point.
I mean,
it's
just like,
it's emotional based.
It's emotional based. And you just think coaches are supposed to be nice and play you. And if you sit too long, you're going to be mad at the coach. You don't understand schemes and things like that yet. So I think the point in which the athlete were to give the analysis on a coach would matter, because man, for coaches that are really, really like good men, a lot of times it takes for you to have maturity to look back and be like, and I'll say this, bro, even just, again, I'm gonna reflect back to when we're watching the Dodgers game, and just having conversations with Pops. I'm pretty sure a lot of players, and you've even told me about certain players that have pulled back up on Pops and been like, thank you, I appreciate you. But that's what it takes for you to get older and be like, nah, he was a good man. Yes, he was a coach. He was a coach, but that's a good man. He was a good man. And then you reflect back to like, man, he was telling me this when I was 15, 16. Now I'm 24, 25, and it's really resonating with me.
Yeah.
Then that's when you reflect back and you're like, it's not saying forget the coaching, because he's still a coach, but you're reflecting back on, my coach was a good man. Thank you to that coach. And if you can get to him and speak to him, that's when you have players pull back up to schools or text or get calls like, hey, coach, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I want to say thank you. Because when you told me this just happened, and I reflected back to you telling me this in practice or pulling me to the side or mid-game. And to you were just giving me knowledge and wisdom, but it's stuck, and now I'm applying it right now. So those things matter, man, and that stuff is deep, because any athlete that's hearing this has had a coach to where it's like, you reflect back, or you have a certain moment to where you're like, man, that was a good man. That was a good man. We're not even saying a good coach, because that's just a title.
No, that's a title.
That was a good man for real. And again, it takes for you to have life and situations to reflect back and be like, man, I appreciate him. I appreciate him. So those are the special moments. Those are the moments that I believe coaches, real coaches, live for, and players, that's what you really want to be able to reflect back on. You play so many games, after a while, you're going to be like, man, I play hundreds of games, thousands of games. But those are real memorable things. So those are special.
Yeah. Again, man, that was so powerful. And it's funny because I know he doesn't like when we talk about him, or just, in this case, bring up certain situations like that. Not doesn't like, but he's a very humble guy.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying? But I think it definitely needs to be talked about, because I mean, it's bias on my end, but I can't necessarily compare my dad as a coach to anyone else that coached me either, before or after, bro. Because, geez, even if he wasn't my dad, I would still feel like the way that I was raised and the way that I was able to like have real, and I think if you have true passion for your sport, you want to be coached hard.
Absolutely. You
want to get better.
That's what it is.
And
that's what it is.
Unfortunately, these coaches that are still trying to have that type of like, I'm going to be hard on you mentality for the sake of you being a better man is kind of dwindling a little bit. And it's because of reasons like you mentioned. You have guys that can take it, and you have guys that don't. There's a happy medium in working with one dude to another. But then also it's like, what about your philosophy and like what you came in here to do? They're a team. So what if you do too much on letting go of the leash on certain individuals, and they don't feel the impact of what sometimes tough love does to a dude? Because let's be honest, like if there's tough love, but then there's a follow-up of, I love you still though. You're a good dude. I believe in you. Like, don't give up. Keep going. Like, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I am knowing that you can do better. I think there's a way to articulate that. And as coaches, I think they do a great job at being there in the moment that is they're being a hard ass. I think sometimes the follow-up isn't always there, and it needs to be just as much. You know what I'm saying? And I think, those players that are a little bit more on the emotional side, let's be honest, they're emotional. They're a little bit more on the softer emotional side because they probably have been through some things. For sure. You know what I mean? They probably haven't been able to understand or given that tough love by a father or an uncle or somebody older than them or a brother. And that might be their first time in experiencing it. And I do think, like, regardless, bro, of what your situation is, my dad as a coach has always been good about, look, I didn't get on you because of me not liking you. It was because I know you can do better.
That's what it is, man. Because the reality is, a coach that doesn't see certain things or care, they're not going to speak to you
at all.
So that's the real reality. If a coach isn't talking to you,
for sure,
they don't care. But think about it in a situation, and it was just making me think of a situation which you just said, to where it's like, let's say a coach takes you out and it's like on you in the moment, and then a few minutes later grabs your jersey and kind of wraps you and is like, man, we need you.
Yeah.
It's those moments as
Goosebumps.
a player, it's like, man, he cares about me. He's like, man, you like stop playing around. You know we need you. You know, and he tells you something personable like, man, you're our best player. Or you're one of our it's those things right there that a coach is letting you know, like, nah, we need you. Like, we need you right now. So, man, these things matter, man. These things really matter, and they're real. So
I'm going to show you this real quick, and then we'll get.
Seconds to go. I need you to lock in. Stop being distracted, right? I believe in you, but you've got to want this the most. This isn't my story.
Word.
All right? That's the speech that's gone viral. This is the full story of the moment.
That's I care about you. That's like, you don't have to necessarily say, man, you know I love you after that. It's stuff like that to where it's like, man, this coach cares about me. This coach cares about me. And if you're a good player, you're never going to buck on something like that. If anything, it's going to be like, word, I got you, coach. You're going to be silent in a moment, or you might be like, I got you. Like, I got you. Those are real moments.
If you're a good player and if you know your coach is there for you, you're not going to buckle on that.
Ever.
Like, my dad, he sent that one to me. I saw it maybe like an hour before that. But, bro, those are, and not to say there's anything different about it, but that's a woman coach into her woman player.
Great coaching is great coaching.
In her face. So I don't care what you look like or who you are as a person or what type of coach you are. Like, man, it's part of the game, man. That's passion on both ends. You know, the level of being able to just sit there and take somebody going in on you and not take it personal because of someone else knowing that you're better than that. Wake up. I think I don't know what the disconnect is anymore, bro. Like, well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That just jarred me, bro.
I
was thinking about something. I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
What you just said, the reason why a lot of players, I don't believe, are able to be coached the way that they are right now. And I'm going to use this reference. There's a movie called Blue Chips. It's a basketball movie. Penny Hardaway's in it and Shaq is in it.
Okay.
This was like in the early 90s. So there was no, and I'm prefacing it, the statement, because it's going to make sense when I break it down. There was no NIL deals. There was no payment of players at this time. It was purely, you're playing because you want to get a scholarship to play high D1 basketball and then go play professional or overseas. There's a part of the movie where one of the players, the coach finds out the player's point shaving. He brings him into his office, and I'll never forget this. He said, you ruined the only pure thing that was in your life.
Oh.
That was one of the things he said to him in the midst of his speech, because he basically had to kick him off the team. But he was like, you ruined the most pure thing that was part of your life by point shaving. Why I say that to blend that within coaching and coaches being stern and hard and players being receptive of that. And again, I understand we're in a space of like image and likeliness and things like that. I have understanding and understanding for that. However, when you start paying players, there's an element of internally from players, coach, you can't talk to me like that. I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid. And when that starts happening, and even if you start to feel like that as a player, how can you be receptive to real coaching when you're driving or pulling up to practice or a game and you're in college in a Lamb truck?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Or a Rolls Royce.
And a better car than your coach.
Come on now. Like, like, where does the desire to get to that next level yearn from? And where does the hunger to really be fed and poured into from a top tier coach that's just going to be hard on you from time to time, or it's going to be stern, but he's coming out of love. If you're getting paid, that's where that blend comes in. And that just made me think of, but I think a lot of times, especially the times we're in now, that's why it's difficult. We're seeing coaches now resign because of these things, because they can't coach. Not to say they can't coach. They can't. Under these conditions, coaching isn't.
Their philosophy won't work. It won't work.
It won't, because now you can enter into the portal and then play again. It's not good for the game. If you're that good, you're going to go professional. You're going to get that bread.
It's exactly what you said about that movie. You're taking the
one good
pureness
thing.
out of a sport that was started off of love and passion.
So
Like,
now players, and I've seen even interviews to where coaches or people around coaches have said players are coming in for recruitment visits, and the first question they're asking is, "How much am I going to get?"
yeah, no, it's real. I've
Come
seen
on
those.
now,
I've seen those
man.
videos too.
I've seen that from multiple schools, multiple big schools, and I look at it like, bro, when I was playing, man, my goal. I remember when I got my first letter. It was what's the school? It was a smaller D1. I forget the name of it, but I was ecstatic. It was sitting on the counter in the crib. I walked in the crib, I opened it up, and they were like, we're extending, like basically we're looking at you.
I love that, bro.
Bro, I
Heck
was
yeah.
excited, man. That was the first. Come on now. Like me, even just reflecting back on that, you know how it feels, man, to open and see the letter of like, man, this school is looking at me. You know what I mean? And the possibility of like extending your athletic career into playing D1, like it's man. And now it's like, there was nothing in my mind that thought, am I gonna get paid? Like, bro, I was thinking about, I just love the game, I want to play. And now it's shifted to, hey, yeah, it's cool. I know y'all recruiting me. So what? How much y'all gonna pay? Come on now, man. Like, it's just, that's what's disheartening out of the love.
It is.
Out of the love for the sport. For me, basketball, for you, baseball. When I look at that, it's like, and if I'm looking at your game and I'm like, yo, again, it's just different generations.
Yeah.
But you're not like that. You're not like that on the court. And you're talking like that, or you're asking for that. It's like, it's just disheartening, man. Just truthfully.
It is.
It's disheartening.
I don't think it's wrong to make the statement that the level of passion and heart is in a state of vulnerability when it comes to college sports and high school sports, bro. Because once you put money into the situation, like they say, money can change you. Money can change a man.
Absolutely.
In a good way or a bad way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think
Absolutely.
when we're talking about impressionable youth and impressionable men use their egos and tie egos to fame, money, sex, etc.
Yeah.
And when you give a young, impressionable man money, he cannot. Man, we're talking about 35-year-olds that can't, 40-year-olds
sure.
that touch that money, that go crazy, wild out, artists, celebrities, and you're talking about giving a quarter or maybe something, even we'll say a slice of the pie to a 18-year-old kid, and you're expecting him to still have the same heart and passion he had when he was 4. We're getting a little out of touch with that, bro. So I would agree with it. I think the level that we came from in the generation, we weren't asking for no money. We were asking for a letter that had the logo on the left side with your name.
Come on,
that meant everything. People keeping their mail items, and that was a flex.
Well, look at these.
There was
letters,
no money in there. Nothing. Nowadays, you got kids going on recruiting trips, putting on the jersey. They got the last name on it. They got the parents dripped out. They got cheerleaders. They got the whole a section now. Like, they're getting gifts just to go on a recruiting trip, bro. Like, it's crazy.
And when you constantly raise the bar in these ways, where does it stop? In the sense of, where does it go to just, no, we're recruiting you and we want you, but that's what it is. And yes, we're gonna, like, when you come for your visits, because it is a level of courting. So yes, we understand that. But now it's like, but you've seen these videos, man. It's about the performative action more so than being recruited now.
That's what it's the hype of being recruited more than
It's the hype.
I would say the dopamine hit is, since we were watching that podcast earlier.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
The dopamine hit of just getting signed and going through all that stuff is a lot higher than most of your games in season or even practice. You get to practice and that's not there anymore. Oh, there's no cameras. There's no chains. I actually got to practice now. So I'm going to go half the speed and wait till Saturday or Friday night to really show out. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, taking the passion out and instant gratification, dopamine, more dopamine. You, like you said, you get higher. You got kids with millions of dollars and he's numb because it's like, this isn't enough anymore. Now what's next?
Where does it go, man?
And then all to come down, let's say you make it to the league, all that to just go back to a rookie contract, which is pennies to them. Some of them, they won't ever touch.
Yeah, it's just a tricky space, man.
It is, bro.
I don't like, we're speaking from a love standpoint of the game. We're speaking from a real love standpoint of the game. And, sometimes I'll see certain things in regards to just, you still stay in touch with certain players going to certain places, or just not the recruiting process, but you'll kind of see the process.
Yeah,
'Cause now
for sure.
a lot of things are visual, and you'll see the theatrics and the performative aspect of it. And while it might be cool to see, there's an aspect of it to where it's like, man, is this becoming more detrimental? Because now there's an entitlement that comes with that. And again, it's like, if you're coaching and if you're coming from a place of like being, again, like you were saying, you're coming from, I'm a stern, hard coach, but I love these players, and I'm going to be, if we'll say, an old school coach. You can't coach how? The moment you start applying pressure from a vocal standpoint, I'm getting in the portal. I'm getting in after this season, I'm in the portal. And it's like, you can't run from it. Because in life, there are going to be things that happen, and there's no portal for you to enter into. Now, sometimes it might make sense. Okay, we understand things are nuanced, but in life, you running will not save you. There's a poem called "See It Through." It's one of my favorite poems. Running from it will not save you. You can keep running. All you're gonna do is keep running. That's all you're gonna do. Some things you just gonna have to fight through, because that's life, and that's part of being a man.
Facts.
You're gonna have to fight through it. This is what I was gonna say, and then I'll hand it to you. I haven't heard the last time a player said, "This coach is recruiting me, but he also told me you're gonna have to fight for this spot." Now I'm hearing like, sentiments of the performative aspect and it's all yours. That doesn't do anything if we're talking about building men. Because they're gonna also be players that are top players recruited too, and whether you know it or not, you're still gonna have to fight for that spot. So whether the coach tells you or not, you're still gonna have to fight for a spot. So I personally want a coach to tell me, we're recruiting you and we really like your game, but we have some other players, and if you come, they can hoop too. You're going to have to fight for this spot. Okay, I appreciate that, coach. Because I want to go there and know, okay, I have a chance to play, but I have to fight for this spot. Then you have me there, and you tell me this is all yours. And now in my mind, I have to find out, I have to fight for this spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now you got hit with, you're thinking you got hit with an okie doke, or you got hit with a certain move. It's like, nah, it's just a different. And we're still young, and to be able to see it in this course is kind of crazy, because usually you see this from older people looking down.
It's so wide.
And
Gotten
we're so
way
close.
too big, way too fast.
It has. We're still so close to it, and it's just unfortunate to see these things, man, because I think the reality is the game in a multitude of sports is starting to take a fall. There's going to always be ballers. Don't get me wrong. There's going to always be ballers, but the sentiment of the game is changing. And I think, again, I'm speaking basketball. You probably see it in baseball. People who play football probably see it in football. Hockey, it's just...
It's the times we're in, bro.
Man.
Yeah, it is. No, and I appreciate all that insight, because I think it's needed to bring that to light, and for athletes that are watching this, or for people that enjoy, whether they're watching their kids play or they're getting ready to put their kid through a sport. I think it's necessary for them to understand what the pros and cons are. At the end of the day, there's some real consequences mentally and in your lifestyle and situationally that can happen if you let a kid think that they're just gonna get paid and go play, which that's kind of what it sounds like nowadays, bro. It really is, and it's sad, but I think more often than not, something's got to come to balance. It's gonna happen. It's gonna fall.
What would you say is the biggest difference that you've noticed from the time you played until now? Specifically baseball.
I think just the element of playing hard.
Really?
I think a lot of times it's harder to find those kids that are willing to just get after it. And this is based off the conversations I have with my dad. Like, I don't get around high school baseball very much, just because I'm not really in the realm anymore. I just watch what I see online. But even watching these videos, bro, I'm like, if you can't, here's how I view it. And I'm not trying to bring my lifestyle into it, but when I have my buddy come out and record a slow pitch game or clips of me playing, I'm not thinking about a camera.
For sure.
Now, if they put a mic on me, which I've done before, I hate it because I'm like, bro, what am I supposed to say? I'm like zoning out, and it's slow pitch. I should be able to just be talking to this thing like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But I'm like, bro, get this off me. Give this to someone else. Like, I don't do that. And to think that if that's me as a 29-year-old dude who's playing a silly game of slow pitch, and I'm struggling to focus on something as little as that, and we're giving mics to kids at 10 years old, 12 years old, playing the game, thinking that they're going to have the same effort and energy and not think about a mic or content or how they look, how their pants look, what they're doing, how their swing looks. It's no, bro. You're limiting it. Everything's limited nowadays. I think you're getting a limited player. I think we're getting limited generations of athletes. I think we're getting players that don't know the real fundamentals of understanding the game. I think there are some very gifted athletes nowadays that, you know, I'm seeing these kids on social media or videos of 3-year-olds that can throw a ball now. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. But then on the flip side too, I'm seeing these kids at 16, 17 years old that I'm like, bro, you're so gifted, but you're worried about the wrong thing. We got lucky because social media, Instagram was just pictures when we were juniors in high school. You couldn't post videos. Snapchat came out a little bit later. Twitter was kind of its thing, but we didn't care about social media. Like it was there, but we didn't even know what it was yet. It was just in the air. Nowadays, we know exactly what it is, and we know exactly what these guys are doing when they get onto it. So, yeah, to kind of sum it up, bro, I think it's just the talent's limited and the effort is limited because of what is being asked and what the demand is, and everything is about content. Everything's about marketing yourself as a player. So naturally, talent is going to come down with it because it's not just about the game. But yeah, bro, I want to get into these questions. We got about 5 minutes, so I want to make sure that check. Okay, so I'm gonna get into these questions. Let's see. First one I want to ask you. Do some coaches abuse power because of their position?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can see it. A lot of times you can feel it to where it's like, yo, this is extreme, or you're just doing a lot, or it's uncalled for. So, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot that could be spoken on that, but, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the system rewarding the wrong type of coaches?
In a day and time that we're in now, I'd probably say no.
No?
Yeah, I don't think, is a system rewarding the wrong type of coaches? I would say anything, the wrong type of players now. Systems rewarding the wrong type of players, not the coaches. I mean, we're seeing a lot of coaches resign or stop coaching now. So I don't really see where a coach would be rewarded that's not necessarily doing what he needs to do in this stage of sports. But there's also often players that are bullet points being rewarded. So I would say that would probably more lead, at least from my vantage point, towards players more so than coaches.
Got it. And then I'll answer this one with you. Are coaches filling the gap of missing male role models?
First.
Go ahead.
Are players missing the...
Are coaches filling the gap of missing male role models? So, yeah, basically... Some are.
I would say some are. Because as you would know, every coach isn't filling that gap. So the great ones are, and then the ones who aren't. But you also need to experience both being an athlete.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So you need to experience having a good coach and then having an experience having a bad coach. Or a coach that just might not know. He might not be a bad coach. He just might not have the experience to know how to really lead a team. So I think you need to experience both. And then both happen when you're an athlete. If you play long enough, you're going to experience both. So I would say that.
Yeah, man. I think, and now I'm speaking on my experience from the time I was 4 or 5 years old to the time that I think I stopped playing. I was like 20, maybe 21, 22. I don't think, I can't say that all of the coaches that I've had are filling that gap for filling the role model gap. You know what I'm saying? Am I blessed that I got to experience what that looked like? Absolutely. I think that's helped me kind of work in situations like we're both working, in corporate America, and just be able to navigate with different types of people, different types of supervisors, executive leaders, whatever. But I think if we're just speaking in terms of, again, trying to get men who can really lead and make an impact in these guys' lives. So that way, when they get out in the real world, it's not much of a gap for them to, hey, today you didn't get that job interview. Why didn't you get the job interview? I mean, I got a check for doing all this and you're telling me I can't get a job interview? Yeah. The entitlement, the ego, like putting that to rest a little bit. So that way when they get out, they're like, okay, I know I'm not given anything. I'm not required to have anything because I was a student athlete. I'm here because my coach and my dad or my uncle taught me how to go after it and get after it. And I'm here because I'm determined. Yeah. And I think I can't say that for a good amount of my coaches that I had. I think they were great in other areas for sure. They knew their stuff. I think every coach that I had knew something about the game, whether it was football, baseball, or basketball. But I think the level to be intimate and vulnerable with a young person and a young guy, it wasn't there, you know? And my dad really set the level and expectation for that, which I'm blessed for because that's all that matters in my life. Yeah. He's still with me and I'm, still taking kind of the player's role sometimes when I'm talking to him and letting him just be like, telling me things and, listening to him and understanding like, okay, I can see where you got to that point. But yeah, bro, I think it's, I think to just sum it all up, there can be a better job at it being done for sure. All right. So last question. If you became a coach, what type would you be?
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
Refer to that. I think ultimately the great coaches, and maybe it could be a personality thing as to why sometimes it's not this way. But if I were to look at how I would be, yes, there's a level of sternness and toughness that you need. But again, I think the way to cut through all of this and to really, really get to a player, and it's ironic because I'm reading a book right now that's called Super Communicators. Oh. But the way to decipher through is to be an encourager. I think when people feel encouraged or they know and you're expressing you're a warrior. You have what it takes, and even if you're hard on them at times, but you're encouraging and you're letting them know, man, you're one of our best players. We need you. Yeah. You're great. You have these attributes. A player will go through a wall for a coach when they feel like, my coach, he puts that battery in my back. He encourages me. He's pouring into me. He's showing me love. Yes, he's a coach, so he's gonna have to be hard, but he's also letting me know again. Putting you in the game, pulling you up man, you a warrior. You one of our best, our best players.
I like that.
Get out there and go crazy. Stop playing around. Get your mind right. You know the plays. I've seen you focus before. That's how I would be because I know, but we all need love. That's what it's all about.
That's exactly what it is.
We all need love. So I don't care if you're playing a sport, if you're on a job, if you're training a marathon, if you're going to another country, whatever it is. Love is the answer for everything. So if you pour love into somebody, unless somebody's just not in their right mind, they're going to be receptive to it. The harshest, somebody who's been through the most, if you pour into them and show love, that person will start to open up eventually, or they'll start to realize this person cares. So I will come from an encouragement standpoint. So
I like that, man. Yeah. That's beautiful. I could see you being a coach. Absolutely. Man, if I was a coach, I would definitely take some of that. I think people need to feel needed and wanted, absolutely, bro. And I think that ties into the encouraging part. Man, just to think back to when I was a player and I was at my most vulnerable state, bro, it was a shitty feeling because you can feel so far away from everybody in the locker room, whether it's players, coaches, you don't have real friends. You just feel siloed so bad. And when you were in a time, again, and I'm not going to stop saying it, an impressionable age, absolutely, you are going through so much transition. And college is just a bigger high school. So you really are trying to find out which clique you fit in. There's cliques on teams, bro. That's the thing is you're always going to still have your cliques. You guys are going to be close, but some are going to be closer than others. And if you're the player that's kind of siloed and doesn't have anyone to fit in with, and you have a coach or coaches that aren't pouring into you, only to a certain extent, it makes your life hard. So I would pull straight from that. And just being around some of my dad's coaches and being around my dad, I would pull from different palettes of what they do. And it would just be built off of, like you said, love first and foremost. It would be built off of making sure that my players were feeling wanted and needed, and transparency, making sure that I had that open door policy with them to be like, look, you're here because this is what you've done and this is what you need to work on, and I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I've seen my dad do it time and time again. If he's constructively giving you feedback, he's going to end with something positive. And positive may not be what's going on the field. It may just be, hey man, like, you're a good kid. That means something to somebody, bro.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's all you want to be told is, can you just see me as a person?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think just having those three elements would make me as a coach be, I wouldn't say the best, but the most impactful.
For sure.
And that's all I would care about. You know, I couldn't think about winning games, losing games, but if I'm knowing that my guys are going out there and they're just being good young men, I mean, you could fire me in a year, but I know that in a year, I made way more impact on those kids' lives than most of these coaches have done in 10.
Absolutely. And that ties into how you do on the field or on the court. Because if your coach is pouring into you, you have a desire to, like, for your best self to perform. And also you want to do best for your coach too. That's a part of it as well.
Definitely.
But also, if you have a coach that's operating in a certain way with you, it could be you could respond in a rebellious way, or like, I'm playing for myself. I'm playing for me, my homies, or getting a scholarship, not a cohesive. We're wanting to win, but we want to win for our coach because we love our coach. Like, it all pours into it. So it's a combination.
For sure, bro.
It's a combination.
Man, I love this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a good talk. Well, if you guys haven't already, make sure that you check out the latest episodes and go back and, just tune in. I think at the end of the day, we put these together first and foremost because we're speaking off of, real life situations. And we know people out there that are going through these exact moments in this time or have gone through these moments. And sometimes just want to, like, open and unpackage that and see what that moment really felt like and how they can push forward in this time, in this, and just kind of in this element. So my guy,
As always, love my brother.
great combo. Love you. We'll talk to y'all